In a world that constantly pressures us to be more, do more, and achieve more, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. The path to becoming a better version of yourself doesn't lie in accumulating more wealth or seeking external approval. It lies in cultivating inner peace, wisdom, and strength. Today, we're diving into 10 transformative Buddhist habits that will guide you toward a better, more mindful version of yourself. These habits aren't about achieving perfection. They're about cultivating a deeper connection with yourself and with life, ready to unlock the powerful habits that will help you break free from external noise and transform your inner world. It's time to stop chasing validation and start building true peace within. Let go of distractions and reconnect with the essence of who you truly are. Let's begin this journey together. 1. Focusing on what's in your control. One of the most empowering habits you can develop is the ability to focus solely on what you can control. In Buddhist philosophy, the idea of detachment from the things that are beyond our control is central. Attachment to things that we cannot influence, such as the actions of others, the outcomes of situations, or the course of life, often leads to unnecessary stress and suffering. By focusing only on what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and responses to life, you reclaim your power and bring peace into your mind. Buddhism teaches us that suffering often comes from resisting the natural flow of life. By accepting that we can't control everything, we free ourselves from unnecessary anxiety. For example, you can't control how others treat you, but you can control how you respond. If someone insults you, instead of reacting angrily or defensively, you can choose to remain calm and not take their words personally. This simple shift in perspective allows you to feel at peace, even when circumstances are difficult. Focusing on what's in your control builds mental clarity and emotional resilience, helping you live more peacefully and effectively. 2. Not caring what others think. One of the most liberating lessons in Buddhism is learning to let go of the need for approval from others. It's easy to become trapped in the cycle of seeking validation, whether it's through social media, work accomplishments, or even personal relationships. Buddha's teachings remind us that the desire to be liked or validated by others is a source of suffering. When you seek validation from external sources, you become a slave to the opinions of others, and your happiness becomes fragile and dependent on their judgment. To become a better version of yourself, you must learn to stop worrying about what others think. The key here is understanding that everyone has their own perspectives, shaped by their experiences, biases, and personal beliefs. Their opinions are not a reflection of your worth. When you stop seeking approval, you begin to live authentically, guided by your own principles and values. This doesn't mean you should disregard others' opinions or become indifferent to their feelings, but it means you stop allowing them to dictate how you feel about yourself. By doing so, you tap into an unwavering sense of self-acceptance and inner peace. You are enough as you are, and nothing needs to be added to that. Mental strength isn't about ignoring your emotions or suppressing your feelings. It's about developing the resilience and inner fortitude to face life's challenges with clarity, composure, and wisdom. Buddhism teaches that life is full of ups and downs, and we cannot avoid hardship, but we can choose how we respond to it. The goal is not to eliminate difficult emotions, but to be able to stay centered amidst them. To build mental strength, it's essential to practice mindfulness and emotional awareness. When difficult situations arise, instead of reacting impulsively or becoming overwhelmed, take a deep breath and observe your thoughts and emotions. Ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to teach me? Or, how can I respond to this situation with wisdom? Strengthening your mental muscle means cultivating the ability to pause before reacting. You train yourself to observe, reflect, and then respond mindfully, making choices that align with your deeper values rather than your emotional impulses. Over time, this mental strength allows you to navigate life with equanimity and resilience, no matter the external circumstances. 4. Embracing obstacles as opportunities. In Buddhism, obstacles are seen not as things to avoid, but as opportunities for growth. Every challenge we encounter has the potential to teach us something valuable, whether it's patience, wisdom, or self-reflection. Rather than viewing difficulties as roadblocks, Buddhist teachings encourage us to view them as moments to deepen our understanding and strengthen our inner resolve. When faced with an obstacle, take a step back and reflect on the situation. What is it teaching you? Perhaps it's an opportunity to practice patience, to let go of attachment, or to cultivate compassion for yourself or others. Life's challenges are inevitable, but your perspective on them is what shapes your experience. When you embrace obstacles as opportunities, you stop fearing them and instead start seeing them as integral parts of your personal and spiritual development. With each challenge, you grow stronger, more compassionate, and wiser. This mindset transforms life's toughest moments into pathways for growth. 5. Building self-discipline. Self-discipline is a cornerstone of Buddhist practice because it allows you to live a life aligned with your highest values. It's easy to get distracted or pulled away from your goals by external circumstances, temptations, or even your own impulses. But self-discipline is about cultivating the ability to stay focused and committed to your path, regardless of the distractions or obstacles that arise. In Buddhism, self-discipline is often practiced through ethical guidelines, such as the 5 precepts, which encourage you to act with kindness, mindfulness, and wisdom. You don't have to follow strict rules to develop self-discipline. It's more about creating habits that help you stay grounded and aligned with your inner truth. Start small. Commit to a daily meditation practice. Make a promise to refrain from negative self-talk, or develop a routine that supports your physical and mental well-being. Over time, self-discipline becomes second nature, and you begin to live with more intentionality, focus, and balance. When you live with self-discipline, you find that you have greater control over your life and can make decisions that reflect your true values. 6. Live simply. Simplicity, as understood in Buddhism, is not about depriving yourself or living with nothing. It's about eliminating the unnecessary and creating space for what truly matters. In a world dominated by consumerism, distractions, and the pursuit of external validation, simplicity becomes a radical act of returning to the core of who we truly are. It is about stripping away both physical and mental clutter that hinders your ability to experience peace, clarity, and presence in your daily life. When we speak of living simply, we are referring to the intentional process of letting go, not just of material things, but also of the mental baggage that clouds our minds and hearts. In Buddhist teachings, simplicity is seen as a path to liberation. The Buddha taught that desire is the root of suffering, and this desire often takes the form of wanting more possessions, more achievements, more recognition. We get trapped in a cycle of accumulation, thinking that the more we have, the happier we'll be. However, true happiness and freedom come when we break free from the constant need to accumulate and instead focus on what is already present. By simplifying, we make room for peace, clarity, and deeper connection to the present moment where true joy resides. Living simply begins with physical decluttering. We live in an age of excess, where more is always considered better. Our homes, our minds, and our lives become filled with things, items that we think we need, but that often only serve to distract us from what is most important. To live simply, we must take a step back and evaluate our possessions. What truly serves us? What adds value to our lives? And what is simply taking up space both physically and mentally? Simplifying your physical environment could mean getting rid of unnecessary items, reducing the number of things you own, and creating a space that is clear and uncluttered. This isn't about becoming a minimalist for the sake of minimalism, but rather about creating an environment that supports peace and mindfulness. When your surroundings are clear, your mind can be clearer too. The act of decluttering doesn't just free up space in your home, it frees up space in your life for more meaningful activities and experiences. You begin to realize that happiness doesn't come from acquiring more, it comes from being content with less. Living simply also involves mental decluttering. Our minds, much like our homes, can become overwhelmed with unnecessary thoughts, worries, and desires. In Buddhism, it is taught that we should learn to release the constant cycle of thinking, particularly thoughts driven by greed, envy, or fear. Much of the suffering in life arises from the mind's attachment to these thoughts, which are often born out of a desire for things to be different from how they are. By learning to quiet the mind and let go of unnecessary worries, we can cultivate a deeper sense of peace and clarity. Living simply in the mental sense means letting go of the constant stream of desires that often dominate our thoughts. It's about breaking the pattern of always wanting more or worrying about the future. Instead, it's about grounding yourself in the present moment and learning to be content with what you have right now. This doesn't mean you stop striving for improvement or growth. It means you stop attaching your happiness to the future or to things outside of your control. By simplifying your thoughts and focusing on what is truly important, you create mental space for mindfulness, gratitude, and acceptance. When you live simply, you stop rushing from one thing to the next, always in pursuit of the next achievement or the next possession. Instead, you begin to savor the beauty of the present moment. You are no longer overwhelmed by the endless distractions that come from trying to keep up with societal standards of success or happiness. In simplicity, you find freedom. The need for external validation fades, and you realize that peace comes from within, not from the things you acquire or the recognition you receive. Simplicity allows you to connect more deeply with your true purpose. When your life is cluttered with distractions, it becomes difficult to hear your own voice, the voice of your heart, your intuition, your soul. But when you live simply, you create space to listen to that voice. You become more attuned to your authentic desires, values, and goals. You stop living for the approval of others and begin living for your own inner truth. In this way, simplicity leads to self-discovery, deeper purpose, and fulfillment. Living simply also allows you to experience life in its purest form. You begin to appreciate the small moments that you once overlooked, the feel of the sun on your skin, the sound of birds singing, the joy of a quiet walk, or the company of loved ones. In Buddhism, generosity is not just an act of giving. It is a path to transforming the heart and mind. It is a practice that transcends simply offering material possessions or charity. True generosity comes from a place of selflessness, kindness, and compassion. To give without expectation is to offer from the heart, without any anticipation of receiving something in return, whether it be gratitude, recognition, or even a feeling of accomplishment. This selfless giving is an essential aspect of Buddhist teachings, as it helps to cultivate a sense of interconnectedness and compassion for all beings. When you give without expectation, you release attachment to the outcome. Often when we give, we do so with the hope or desire that the recipient will show gratitude or that our gift will bring us recognition. However, true generosity comes when you give simply because it feels right, without concern for what you will gain in return. The Buddha taught that attachment to the results of our actions leads to suffering. When we give with an expectation, we become attached to a specific outcome, and if that outcome doesn't materialize, we may feel disappointed or upset. In contrast, when you give without expectation, your act of kindness is its own reward. This practice helps to break the cycle of selfishness and attachment that often dominates our lives. Generosity in the Buddhist context is a means of letting go of the ego. It encourages us to shift from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. Instead of holding tightly to what we have, generosity teaches us to trust that the act of giving will create an ongoing flow of love, compassion, and peace. The more we give, the more we experience the joy and satisfaction of knowing that we are contributing to the well-being of others without any need for reciprocation. Giving without expectation isn't just about material things. It can also extend to your time, attention, love, and energy. For example, offering your time to help a friend in need, listening to someone without the need to offer advice, or showing empathy to someone going through hardship. All of these are acts of generosity. The value of what you give isn't measured by how much you give, but by the intention behind it. When you give out of a genuine desire to help others, you align with the deepest qualities of your heart, compassion and love. These acts of kindness strengthen the connection between yourself and others, creating a sense of unity and harmony. In many Buddhist traditions, acts of giving are considered a form of practice or meditation. They are opportunities to reflect on our motivations and intentions, helping us purify our hearts and minds. By giving freely and without expectation, we also practice letting go of attachment to the material world, which is a key teaching of Buddhism. This habit frees us from the grasp of greed and enables us to cultivate a mindset of abundance and peace. At the same time, giving without expectation doesn't mean neglecting your own needs. It's important to maintain a balance. Generosity should not lead to self-sacrifice that leaves you feeling drained or resentful. True giving arises from a place of inner peace and contentment. When you give without expecting anything in return, you become less focused on fulfilling your own desires and more focused on the well-being of others. This creates a beautiful cycle where giving and receiving flow effortlessly, without attachment or expectations, and everyone involved benefits in profound ways. Giving without expectation also fosters gratitude. As you practice this habit, you begin to appreciate the small, everyday moments of life. The simple act of sharing a meal, a kind word, or your time with others becomes an expression of deep gratitude for the present moment and for the connections you share. The more you give, the more you realize that giving is not a burden, but a privilege. It allows you to contribute positively to the world around you, spreading love and light wherever you go. When you practice giving without expectation, you start to realize that the more you offer, the more abundant your life becomes in ways that are not necessarily material. It's not about what you can get, but about what you can give. In this way, generosity becomes a pathway to inner peace and happiness. You stop focusing on the scarcity of things and instead open yourself up to the boundless nature of human connection, compassion, and shared joy. Through this, you recognize that the more you give, the more you receive in ways that cannot be measured or quantified. Whether through the joy of seeing someone else's happiness, the peace you create in your own heart, or the positive energy you spread throughout your community. 8. Release negative thoughts. In Buddhism, it is taught that our thoughts are powerful, shaping our perception of the world and our experiences. Negative thoughts, whether they arise from self-doubt, anger, fear, or jealousy, can cloud our minds and limit our potential. The Buddha taught that attachment to these negative thoughts is one of the main causes of suffering. The more we engage with these thoughts and allow them to dominate our mind, the more they affect how we feel and how we respond to the world around us. The first step in releasing negative thoughts is becoming aware of them. Many negative thoughts are automatic and arise without us even realizing it. They can be subtle, like the inner critic telling you that you're not good enough, or more intense, like thoughts of anger or resentment towards others. The key is to observe these thoughts as they arise without immediately reacting to them or getting absorbed in them. In Buddhism, this practice is known as mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches us to become aware of our thoughts and emotions without judgment or attachment. When you notice negative thoughts, simply acknowledge them and let them pass by, like clouds floating across the sky. This helps you step back from the thought rather than identifying with it. It's important to remember that just because a thought arises in your mind doesn't mean you have to accept it as truth. Thoughts are impermanent and often fleeting. They don't define you. When you practice mindfulness, you begin to see that your thoughts are just that, thoughts. They have no power over you unless you allow them to. By acknowledging and then letting go of negative thoughts, you break free from the grip they have over your mind and emotions. Another important aspect of releasing negative thoughts is replacing them with more positive and constructive ones. This doesn't mean ignoring or suppressing negative feelings, but rather shifting your focus to thoughts that support your well-being and growth. For example, when you catch yourself thinking negatively about your abilities, you can replace that thought with an affirmation. I am capable, I am learning, and I am growing. By cultivating positive thoughts, you begin to rewire your brain towards a mindset of abundance, gratitude, and resilience. Over time, this practice can help you see life through a more compassionate and optimistic lens. In Buddhism, there is a concept called right thought, which is part of the Noble Eightfold Path. Right thought involves cultivating thoughts that are aligned with wisdom, compassion, and non-harm. It's about letting go of thoughts that fuel hatred, jealousy, or fear, and instead nurturing thoughts that promote peace, understanding, and love. By adopting right thought, you can begin to replace your negative thought patterns with ones that are more beneficial and in harmony with your true nature. Releasing negative thoughts also involves letting go of attachment to past grievances or future worries. Many negative thoughts arise from past experiences that we haven't fully processed, or anxieties about what may or may not happen in the future. Buddhism teaches that living in the past or future robs us of the present moment. When you hold on to past regrets or future fears, you prevent yourself from experiencing life as it is right now. To release these negative thoughts, practice bringing your awareness back to the present moment. Focus on what you can do in the here and now, rather than getting lost in what has already happened or what might happen. One effective practice for releasing negative thoughts is meditation. Meditation allows you to quiet the mind, create distance from your thoughts, and observe them with clarity and acceptance. When you meditate regularly, you develop the ability to let go of negative thoughts more easily because you've trained your mind to be less reactive. Meditation also helps you cultivate inner peace, which creates a buffer against the negative chatter that often fills our minds. By creating a space of calm and stillness within, you can more effectively manage and release negative thoughts when they arise. Letting go of negative thoughts also frees you from the grip of limiting beliefs. Negative thoughts often reflect underlying beliefs we hold about ourselves or the world. Beliefs such as, I'm not good enough, I'll never succeed, or I'm not deserving of love. These beliefs can limit your potential and keep you stuck in patterns of self-sabotage or insecurity. In Buddhism, the practice of right understanding helps you recognize these limiting beliefs and challenge them. You begin to see that these beliefs are not truths, but stories you've been telling yourself. By questioning these thoughts and beliefs, you create space for new, more empowering thoughts to emerge. Meditation is one of the most transformative habits you can develop, especially within the context of Buddhism. It is a practice that allows you to quiet the mind, observe your thoughts without attachment, and connect with your true self. Meditation is often described as a tool for cultivating mindfulness, which is the act of being fully present in the moment, without judgment. Through daily meditation, you develop the ability to create space between your thoughts and reactions, allowing you to respond to life's challenges with calmness, clarity, and wisdom. The practice of meditation, in its simplest form, involves sitting quietly, focusing on your breath, and observing whatever arises in your mind. This may sound simple, but it can be challenging, especially in the beginning. In our fast-paced, overstimulated world, our minds are often cluttered with a constant stream of thoughts, worries, plans, regrets, and distractions. Meditation helps you disconnect from this mental noise and cultivate a deeper sense of awareness and inner peace. One of the key benefits of meditation is its ability to reduce stress. When you meditate, you activate the body's relaxation response, which helps to lower levels of the stress hormone cortisol. Over time, regular meditation helps to rewire the brain, making you less reactive to stress and more capable of handling difficult situations with calmness and equanimity. As you meditate, you learn to notice the physical and emotional sensations that arise in response to stress, but you also learn to observe them without becoming overwhelmed or consumed by them. In Buddhism, meditation is not just about relaxation. It is a practice of deep self-awareness. As you sit in meditation, you begin to observe the patterns of your thoughts, emotions, and even your physical sensations. This awareness is not to judge or suppress anything, but to simply notice what arises and let it pass. This act of observing creates space between you and your thoughts, allowing you to detach from the belief that you are your thoughts. It helps you recognize that your thoughts are impermanent and that they don't define you. By developing this non-attachment to your thoughts, you begin to cultivate inner peace and a more balanced perspective on life. The Buddha taught that the mind is like a wild elephant, untamed and often out of control. Meditation is the tool that helps you tame this wild elephant, allowing you to direct your attention with greater focus and clarity. A consistent meditation practice helps you train your mind to stay present, to focus on one thing at a time, and to cultivate mental discipline. This discipline is essential for overcoming distractions, self-doubt, and other mental obstacles that prevent you from fully experiencing life. In addition to mindfulness, another important meditation practice in Buddhism is loving-kindness meditation, or metta. Loving-kindness meditation is designed to cultivate compassion and love, first for yourself and then for others. In this practice, you repeat phrases such as, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live with ease," and gradually extend those well wishes to others, including loved ones, acquaintances, and even people with whom you may have difficulty. This practice helps to open your heart and cultivate a sense of interconnectedness with all beings. It transforms your meditation practice from one of self-awareness to one of selflessness and compassion. Another powerful form of meditation in Buddhism is insight meditation, or vipassana. This meditation focuses on gaining insight into the true nature of reality. It helps you understand the impermanent, interconnected, and empty nature of all things. By observing the sensations in your body, your emotions, and your thoughts, you begin to understand that nothing is fixed, and everything is in constant flux. This realization helps to reduce attachment and suffering, as you learn that clinging to anything, whether it's material possessions, emotions, or relationships, only leads to pain. Insight meditation helps you see things as they truly are, without the fear of losing them. 10. Cultivate patience. Patience is one of the most powerful virtues emphasized in Buddhism. It is a cornerstone of spiritual practice, and its importance cannot be overstated in a world where instant gratification and quick results are often expected. Patience teaches us to endure difficulties without frustration or despair, and to trust that everything will unfold in its own time. Patience is the ability to wait calmly for something to come to fruition, to allow life to unfold naturally, and to handle challenges with grace rather than reacting impulsively. In Buddhist philosophy, patience is not just the passive act of waiting, but a dynamic, active practice of acceptance and self-control. It's the capacity to remain calm and composed in the face of adversity, to understand that everything has its own pace, and to have faith in the process of life. This patience does not imply resignation or passivity. Rather, it is the ability to approach life's challenges with mindfulness, wisdom, and an open heart. The Buddha often spoke of the 3 types of patience. The first type is patience with hardship, where you endure suffering or difficult situations without allowing them to disturb your peace. The second type is patience with others, which involves understanding the limitations and imperfections of those around us and responding with compassion and empathy rather than frustration or anger. The third type is patience with the truth, which refers to the ability to accept life as it is, to understand the impermanent and interconnected nature of all things, and to be at peace with the unfolding of reality without trying to force or control outcomes. Patience allows you to see life from a broader perspective. When you hurry through life, focusing only on reaching goals or chasing specific results, you miss out on the richness of the present moment. But when you develop patience, you start to appreciate the small, often unnoticed moments that make life truly meaningful, whether it's enjoying a meal, relishing a quiet moment of reflection, or spending time with loved ones. Patience allows you to slow down and fully experience life as it is, without constantly rushing to the next task or achievement. A key aspect of patience is the ability to endure discomfort without reacting negatively. Life is filled with difficult situations, emotional pain, physical discomfort, and challenging circumstances, and without patience, we often respond to these difficulties by trying to avoid or escape them. But Buddhism teaches us that avoiding discomfort only increases our suffering. Instead of resisting it, patience encourages us to face discomfort head-on, to sit with it, and to let it pass naturally without allowing it to overwhelm us. This mindset helps us build resilience and inner strength. Another essential part of developing patience is practicing delayed gratification. In today's fast-paced world, we are often conditioned to expect instant results or rewards. However, patience helps us overcome the urge to rush toward outcomes. When we learn to delay gratification, we develop stronger self-control and the ability to endure the necessary effort that leads to long-term success and fulfillment. This patience is crucial for achieving meaningful goals, as true success rarely happens overnight. It is through steady effort, consistent practice, and the willingness to endure temporary discomfort that we bring lasting change into our lives and relationships. Patience is key to fostering harmony and understanding, whether with family, friends, or colleagues. It helps us navigate differences and conflicts without giving in to anger, frustration, or impatience. When you practice patience with others, you learn to listen more attentively, empathize with their perspective, and respond with kindness and understanding rather than reacting defensively. In this way, patience nurtures compassionate communication and strengthens your connections with those around you. Patience also plays a vital role in personal growth and spiritual development. The journey of self-discovery and enlightenment is not something that happens quickly. It is a lifelong process that requires dedication, perseverance, and patience. In Buddhist teachings, there is an understanding that spiritual growth unfolds gradually, like a seed that must be cared for and given time to grow at its own pace. Cultivating patience with yourself is essential for letting go of self-judgment and embracing the process of transformation, rather than rushing toward an idealized version of who you believe you should be. Patience allows you to appreciate where you are right now and trust that, with each moment, you are evolving into the person you are meant to be. Another key aspect of patience is trusting in life's timing. Often, we grow impatient when things don't happen according to our schedule. We feel frustrated when goals take longer to reach, relationships don't progress as expected, or opportunities seem out of reach. However, patience teaches us to trust that life has its own natural rhythm and that everything will unfold when the time is right. Instead of forcing things to happen, patience encourages us to surrender to life's flow, knowing that what is meant for us will arrive in its own time. This trust in life's process is deeply freeing, as it releases us from the anxiety of trying to control outcomes and allows us to embrace the present moment with peace and acceptance. To develop patience, practicing mindfulness is essential. Mindfulness helps you become more aware of your thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations in the present moment. When you are mindful, you can observe your impulses and reactions without immediately acting on them. This awareness gives you the space to respond thoughtfully and with patience, rather than reacting out of habit or frustration. Through regular mindfulness practice, you develop the ability to pause before reacting, to reflect on your response and choose patience over impulsiveness. A practical way to develop patience is to set small, intentional practices throughout your day. For example, you can practice patience while waiting in line, sitting in traffic, or facing moments of frustration. Instead of getting irritated, take a deep breath and remind yourself that patience is a choice. You can also integrate patience into your meditation practice by focusing on being present and accepting whatever arises, whether it's discomfort, impatience, or frustration. Patience is a powerful and transformative practice that helps you live with greater peace, understanding, and resilience. It enables you to face life's challenges with a calm and steady mind, build compassionate relationships, and trust in the natural unfolding of life. By developing patience, you not only improve your ability to handle difficulties with grace, but you also cultivate a deeper sense of trust in yourself and the world around you. Patience, like any virtue, is a practice that strengthens over time. As you embrace it, you'll find that life becomes more manageable and your inner peace grows more lasting. These 10 Buddhist habits are more than just practices. They are pathways to self-mastery, inner peace, and personal growth. By focusing on what you can control, viewing obstacles as opportunities, and cultivating mindfulness and compassion, you can become a better version of yourself. Remember, the journey of personal transformation isn't about perfection. It's about continuous growth and self-awareness. Which of these habits will you start practicing today? Let me know in the comments below.